Alright, welcome back to another league race. This time we're with TMC. This time we are in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. You can see that from the radar there. It looks like a dry race, and qualifying's nice and dry as well. So we're going to get started with the medium tyres, and we're going to get off to an absolutely flying start here in qualifying. Oh dear, chat looks busy. Let's go. Why have I got 35 laps of fuel in? Fuck's sake. So great start there. The setup I had, I obviously tweaked in Grand Prix mode, and obviously it takes the fuel over into qualifying. So that's great. Not that I want to really do much on these mediums. After a long time though, including a trip back into the pits and a validation, this is literally halfway through the session. We're finally going to come set a lap time at 18.4 on mediums. The first lap time was a banker on that 30.5 lap of fuel of what you call it, of meters. Here we go. We just set a soft time of 17.6, puts it into fifth. We'll go for another lap. Though we got time for another lap. You can see the ERS is actually quite low, but we're going to just try anyways. And you can see we're kind of up already, so it's looking good so far. But I'm going to make a few mistakes here in this part of the track and into turn 4. I get onto the grass a bit there, so I lose a good bit of time. I'd say half a tenth or so, and then heading into turn 5 then. Again, a little bit of time, not a ton, and heading up the hill then. Looking okay so far. Again, a good bit of time through here. Well, a good bit of time. I initially gained time, and then lose a bit of time through turn 9. No, not too much. But I run out of ERS. This is where I do lose time now. I run out of ERS basically heading down that straight, so I lost a few hundredths of a second. But good turn 10, heading up the hill as well. And then this is the money maker here. This is the money maker through sector 3. See the time that we've made up, and despite our low ERS, we're going to set a decent lap time, hitting that one perfectly. And here we go then through the last corner on a set of softs at the end of the session. Checker flag is out, a 17.2, which is good enough for 7th place in Spain, and I was really happy with that, because heading into this race I was not expecting of a good result. I was not happy with the pace. Consistency was not happy with either, so I was really expecting to be closer to the back, but a rear gunner match is 7th place, like I have to say, was something that I did not expect. A couple of tenths off my teammate, and that was with a mistake there at turn 4 and running out of ERS down that main straight heading into turn 10, so that was, I thought, really decent. You can see the rest of the grid there: Perpetuum, Calsper, ZR Mercedes. These guys top the table there basically. In terms of pace, Rappi on supers in 5th. So Rappi, that was an interesting one. He was the only one in the top 10, I think, to go on a set of supers. But anyways, for the race, we are not doing a 2-stop. We are certainly doing a 1-stop. So cut out that middle stint on the soft skull mediums, pit lap 13 or so, and we should be good. Tires aren't great on this track, supers or softs, to be fair. So interested to see how we get on. But here we go then. 4 5 red lights, away we go. A very wheel spinny start for Darren Sinclair, and they get a really good start. So you see then Perpetuum ended up his car was AI, I think, so I got 3 wide heading into turn 1. Darren Sinclair's on our right hand side, take it nice and cautiously. He's got the outside. I ended up getting a track limits warning for that. I can see he's still on my right hand side. Is Darren Sinclair here joking then close to the action as well. You see that red proximity arrow, he's right there. And I'm like, no, you can't fit 3 cars into here, surely. But he sticks to the inside. Had to leave him the space, and hoping that I would be able to get a decent run. But he got a better run out of turn 4. And even though I got the inside for turn 5, Hero Joker's going to get that move done. So we stay where we are. We're in P7. Perpetuum Mobile was the big loser, obviously, to begin that race. I thought I was going to get Darren Sinclair as well, but I wasn't able to do that. And then Hero Joker then slipped up then. Took advantage. Lap 2, kind of seeing where things are at the moment. I'm going to get another warning, I think, on the exit here. I had to correct the steering a bit, and I got my second warning on lap 2. I was really like, oh damn it, that's really not good. So I had to be careful. Heading on to lap 4 then. Hero Joking goes a bit wide, but he's looking to set himself up for a move on Rappi. I believe is on the super soft. You can see our tyre getting a bit hotter on the left hand side, so this is lap 5, so that's not great. Rappi then, he's been overtaken by Hero Joking, so then how is his exit? Then he goes really wide during turn 3, And fair play to him, he just got off the throttle, let me go. I could have squeezed back over to the right hand side a bit to give him a bit more space coming back on, but to be fair, he let me by, so he didn't have to, of course, but he decided that was in his best interest. Lap 6, look at that, 1 lap later, look at that tyre, absolutely roasting there. Scuba 1.6 seconds behind, so Scuba was in close proximity for a lot of this race, so I had to be on it. And lap 12, I was gonna pit this lap, but I knew my teammate was in front, and if he would pit it, then I would have to do the opposite. So I wanted to pit that lap, but I had to stay out on that occasion. So I allowed a couple of other guys like Scuba to pit. So here we go. Then lap 13, we're in 3rd place. We're coming into the pits. Then the rest of the soft runners are in as well. The medium guys will continue on, the likes of Matt, the likes of Infinity, Kyle, etc. So we'll put on a set of the medium tire. I'm looking at the map because Tekeepa and Scuba were quite close to me for a lot of this first stint. I was ahead. I was 2 seconds or so ahead before the pit stops. Managing somewhat on that first stint, but here we go. Then they're heading down the main straight. We exit, and there we go. Then we're going to end up ahead of Scuba and Tekeepa, but the thing I knew was that you can see my tyres there cold. I knew that it was this lap that was going to be the issue, because those guys had their tyres up to temperature. So I gave it absolutely everything I could. I'm just weaving, just kind of get an attempt to get any sort of temperature into the tyres, just to help a bit get these tyres up to scrub quickly. I had a bit of a margin though. That was my one saving grace. If the margin was closer heading out of the pits, then I would have been screwed. But again, I'm trying to warm the tyres, and Transit's doing everything I can to get the temperature into them as quick as possible, so I'm feeling comfortable on these set of tyres as quickly as possible. And from here until the end of the race, I was absolutely pushing. I was pushing so hard, trying to hit everything, pushing despite having 2 warnings on lap for the first 2 laps. So I was just absolutely on it, because I knew a good result could have been on. I knew it would take a lot of doing to keep Tekeepa and Scuba behind me for the duration of this race. So I was absolutely on it. And I have to say, I missed the apex there for the first part of the chicane, but generally I was really happy with how I drove in this race. Like I was absolutely on it. ERS saving, yep, tip top. Fuel was looking good for a lot of this race as well. So I was really happy with how things were looking. Lap 15, Scuba got within DRS, but I managed to pull out of it, and now we're catching up to the back of Infinity, who has not made a stop yet on the mediums. And I was like, oh, I've got to get this done quickly, because if I get stuck behind him through this lap, I'm going to be in trouble. So we're gaining. I gained a lot of ground. We go for the move. I had to get this move done. He left the door open, leave the space on the left hand side, and he's not got the tyres to fight back, so we get a clutch move into 9th place. Just at the end of that straight, I had to go for that, and I was really happy I made that move. That was big for my race to make that move there and then, because you can see heading into turn 10, same lap, I'm without DRS range of Infinity, and look, he's backing up the likes of Tekeepa, Scuba, and I think there's another car there as well. Possibly, I think Kevin was there as well, or in that range. So that was big for me to kind of keep going, to get that move done and to break that gap a bit, because they're still behind heading out of that sector. So I managed to gain a nice bit of time there. So ZR Mercedes there is into the pits. He's gone. He pitted onto softs on his first stop, so he committed to the 2-stop quite early, even though he started on softs. So there's rain. You can see that it just came up the last second there. Rain at 10 and 15 minutes, which is not expected for this race. 1.5 seconds to gap to Scuba. You can see there on the front left hand side, a tire is getting a bit hot, 105 degrees. It's not bad, but it's getting closer to where it's going to lose a bit of performance. But again, that was just a testament to how much I was pushing. I was absolutely pushing. I'm in P5 now. Honestly, wasn't even thinking about the position I was in at this point, because I was just pushing so hard to kind of keep Scuba behind, and just hero joking, yeah, he was gone, but nothing I could do about that. Clouding over a bit on lap 24. The Scuba's got within the DRS range 9/10 now, so I wondered how much longer I could keep him behind me now that he got within DRS range. I was visibly struggling, pushing so hard. Jeff wanted me to come in and make another stop, but I wasn't having any of it. Lap 25, again, I've been saving ERS as much as I can. Fuel is getting a bit lower. Scuba in the DRS range, I pull over to the right hand side. braking then for turn 1, he has to fill in behind, so just defending the line as best as I could. I knew obviously once you're through turn 1 it isn't over, because you can get a good run out of turn 3, and there's a space down the inside of 4, but nothing on this occasion. Lap 29 getting darker and darker and darker. Tyre was looking okay, but I was still struggling compared to the guys behind. ZR Mercedes makes a move, so ZR Mercedes made a pit stop and caught up. That's how much pace he had, and he's past Scuba and heading on to lap 30, just a few laps to go. I decided to try and fight this. I knew I probably couldn't, but look, make him work for it at the very least. But really, I mean, nothing I could do about that. Fair play to him for making that work, the 2-stop, making his way back up the field. So not much I could do about that. I did try, but again, with a straight as long as Barcelona, you can kind of do a little bit of fighting, but not much I want to do. And the rain, you can see, has begun to fall. So 4 laps remaining, including the one we're on. This is what we have to deal with. So lap 31, heading on to lap 32. I was struggling. I had a couple of bad exits through this corner, last corner, turn 16, but pushing for everything that I could. Scoop is within DRS. He's getting closer and closer and closer. I pull over to the right hand side. He's thinking about a move anyway. He has to back out of it. Didn't leave him enough space. I get a bad entry into turn 2, and he's still going to be right there. The rain is increasing. I still have 2 warnings. I'm still good for this position, but the rain is coming and it's making life difficult. He's going to have a look down the inside of a turn 4, has to switch to the outside. Does Scuba. Gets a decent run, good run actually, around turn 5 and heading in, or 4 and into turn 5. Then we're going to get pushed off, a little bit of contact off the track, and that gives me a penalty. So I have to stick with it heading up the hill, because Kyle, that puts us right into the clutches of Kyle. His DRS is still enabled at this stage, so anyways, he's got DRS and he's going to go for the lunge, and I have to open the steering, and I was really not happy with that. I had to open the steering to get out of that one. A bit of a dive. So anyways, that is Kyle ahead of me. So I lost 2 after keeping this effective position for 31 laps basically. I have lost 2 positions in the space of a sector. So anyways, we have to keep going. Last lap. Here's the thing, I wasn't too happy with that move. I'm still not too impressed with it now, being nudged off the track like that. The guys at the time were trying to console me that, oh, Kyle's got penalties, the keeper's got penalties. And I was like, I don't care about that, because the person who doesn't have a penalty, Scuba, is ahead of me now. After keeping them behind for 31 laps, I was pushing for everything I could for 31 laps to keep him behind. And I was really frustrated with how that overtake happened. The penalty I can probably get removed, and probably will get removed, but just the fact that it didn't matter that the penalty could get removed, but the only thing that mattered that Scuba didn't have any penalty. So that was the thing that really frustrated me. It was like, I've lost that position I've fought 31 laps to try and keep. So I was really frustrated about that. Anyway, Kyle overtook Scuba there, so I know he's got penalties. I've seen the replay of such I know there wasn't much on Scuba's screen, but there doesn't have to be much on his screen. It's on my screen, and what matters, and there wasn't left the space I would have liked from someone who understands how to race cleanly. So that was frustrating. I felt he could have done a bit more to not make contact with me there and push me off. I felt like if I had a run on the outside, I may have had a chance to fight into turn 7, but I guess the other part that frustrated me as well was, as we're coming up to the checker flag, we're not going to be able to get. It's going to be P7 at the end of this. By the time we cross the line, Kyle is going to have penalties. He's going to fall back. What frustrated me as well was I fought for everything I could. I did so well not to get another warning into for the rest of those 29 laps, basically from lap 2. I thought I did so well not to do that. I worked on the setup. I did everything I could to try and put myself in the best position, even if I wasn't feeling confident. I felt I did everything I could, and then kind of Scuba does no practice, kind of turns up, and then it always felt like I was never going to get that result. Like I was never going to finish ahead of him. It was the frustrating part, and it took till lap 32 for him to get by. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, of course I was never going to finish ahead of him. It was so frustrating in that regard. So anyways, look, P7, I should be really happy with P7, and look, I'm satisfied with how I drove. I thought I did everything I could. Despite this not being a great track for me, struggling for consistency heading into it. I thought I did everything I could to get the best result I could, and I could be satisfied that I did everything in my power to do the best I could. The overall result, I felt like I should have been in P6, but it's going to be P7. Decent points for the team. My teammate Lyronix did a great job to get third place there. So Darren Sinclair in second in the end, so he did a good job as well. Casper just pissed his way as he usually does to the win. Brief result screen, I was not happy. So anyways, that's going to do it for round number 5 of TMC. Next up is Monaco, hoping for a better bounce back result at that track. So until next time.